All right, we are here today out in a town in southeastern Alberta. It is a beautiful, beautiful day today. It's a little bit windy, so yeah, there is going to be probably some wind noise. We're here at an abandoned farm. Now, this farm, from what I hear, has been abandoned for quite some years. So, this is where we're gonna do a little walk around. There are barbed wire fences up through here. Also, where we're gonna go, there is a gate. So there's the abandoned property that we're going to go on. And then back over that way. Then across the street here, we have a fallen over silo where there's a bunch of debris. And on the other side of that silo, so like right over there, or there is an old tornado storm shelter, which we are going to also explore. So this way. And I'm with my son today. He's coming out to join me on this tour. So we'll start over here. There's some pieces of the property where this old thing here, somebody's had some rifle practice on this old barrel. You can see the holes there. It's like probably a 308 or something. But you can see where the tap is here in the ground. What this is an old oil well. The guys would come along from the company and they would fill up this old oil well with oil, and then it was pumped through here to the home over there, which we are going to check out. And there was a really cool truck on that property. It's an old International pickup truck. It's really, really cool. So we'll take a little more footage of the well here. Some old stuff in there. And you can see the pipe that runs. You can see the pipe that runs straight underground. And then we get over to this point where there is some old hoses and stuff. And then so we get to this spot. And there is a pump there. So that could have also been for a fuel pump too. For loading up farm vehicles and tractors and trucks and things like that. Yeah, it's windy out here today. I forgot my wind boom mic that I was going to use. Because it's just such a nice day. I didn't want to. Again, we are like way out here today. You can see it's just storming over there towards the Alberta foothills, Cypress Hills. We come out this way and we're at a fuel storage system, which obviously was for vehicles, you know, the old farm gas. Before digging, there's a lot of these old drums out here, these drums are great. Yeah, you can tell these drums are full of something. I don't know what they're full of. I don't really think I want to know what they're full of. If I had to take a guess, probably like water or something. But yeah, sounds like the Tin Man from The Wizard of Oz. Or Bender. Yeah, these. Why am I getting like Night of the Living Dead vibes? I don't even have a light, I couldn't even see. There's nothing even in that one. It looks like it's just full of oil. These ones are full. I think they're just full of oil or whatever. But or water. That's why I don't want to say, like, you know, Great West Distributors, Calgary, Alberta, Canada. You can see in the lid of that one. 1637, that definitely isn't the date, the year, it's just a... Oh yeah, you can smell the diesel, the oil coming out of that barrel there. These ones are, it's just an old fuel thing. So our first building that we're going to get to is an outbuilding. This outbuilding here would have been what we refer to as a chicken coop. This is an old chicken coop from back in the day, because you can see the wire out there where they would have had chickens or roosters, chickens. We're gonna go in and explore. So we'll go in here. Excuse me, chickens coming in. So here we are inside. You can see the roosts. You can see the roosts in here, where they would roost up there. And then you can see the nice little window so the chickens could breathe, which would also keep the foxes out back in the old days. And you can see where they tried to insulate it. They would use like a type of insulation in here. And these were the chickens. So these were the boxes here where the chickens would sit. So the chickens would lay in here and lay their eggs, and the farmers would just come and collect them. And they have like water troughs. This really old farm window or coop window. Somebody smashed all the glass on, because a lot of people do come out here. Obviously, right? Some people know where this is, and they come out here for various reasons. Our next stop is going to be in the house there. We're going to go for a tour through the house, so when we come back, we'll be inside the house. Alright, so we walked out to this old piece of machinery here, which it's a seeder for seeding. Opened up the lid here, and you can see inside. Here, there's a chart, grain sowing chart for McCormick 6-inch grain drill, International Harvester Company of Canada Limited, Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Which it's from the province I'm from. It's really cool. So it says printed in Canada, this whole thing, but we opened it up to have a look inside. And you can see it here. This thing's been out here for many years. You can see the old wood rail here. Up along here, the old wood rail. So that's that part of it. It tells you how many indicator settings for pounds per acre, how many pounds per seed. So you have like wheat, oats, barley, buckwheat, flax, soybeans, millet, kidney beans, Sudan grass, alfalfa, beets, large canning peas, small canning peas. I mean, that's a lot. So you have, 12 acres, you get 111 pounds of seed. And then what we're going to do is we're going to close that and just kind of keep it, for future generations that want to come out here and check it out too, because that sign inside there is pretty cool. Next, we're going to go into the house and we're going to do a walkthrough in the house over there. So we'll bring you back when we're inside. Okay, here we are at the house. This house was built in early part of the 1900s. People have been out here hunting ducks or even clay shooting. Double odd bucks, they were out here hunting deer. There's a bunch of them out here. But these were probably like 20 years ago, 25 years ago out here hunting. tell just by the shells and the shape that they're in. This is the old family estate out here. It's been pretty serious. Still has the copper wire and electricity cables all coming out to it. Pretty cool. Alright, we're gonna get ready to head in. So here we go. This would have been the front door. This is the front door. Exterior shot of the home. We're gonna head in. Okay. So here we have an old oil heater stove. And then some beds. This here is an old oil heater. We have the front windows looking out into the property. Front shelf when you come in, this is the front of the outdoor, stuff like that. We have, these are old horsehair mattresses. These mattresses are really old. They've been around for many years. Lots of people have probably been on. There's also old bed frames back here as well and stuff. There's a tag on one of them. It's the old Maxipedic, Simmons Maxipedic. I don't see a year on it, but these old mattresses, man, I'm telling you, probably 40 years old at least. In here. Then we walk into this back room here, and here we have the old kitchen. This would have been the old farmstead country kitchen, which I'm assuming this old kitchen here was probably added later as an addition to the home, because a lot of these old houses were one room, maybe two at the time. Here, it's old fuse, old fuse panel up here. They're obviously all off because there's no electricity out here, but you can see how in the building material here, when they parged over top the wood to help with the insulation and stuff like that, they never put wire in behind here, which is why this stuff just flakes right off. And you can tell if you look at the paint here, you can see the years of layers of paint. Personally, I call this color 1950s green. So yeah. And then one thing I like, the decor. So if you look at the woodwork, you tell that old wood decor, you know, antique style. It's old doors in here. All kinds of old insulation, paint cans, and there's a lot of scat. There's a lot of scat in here, so I don't know what kind of animal or some kind of animals live in here. This would have been going out to like the pantry. This would have been a pantry connected to the home where they would have kept cold stores. This would have been before they had fridges and things like that. And this would have been kind of like a storage area where they would have had old cold storage, but the old handle for that. Old stove. This was after wood burners, so this, you can see the name of the appliance on there. I'm not going to name the name of the appliances because the last time I did that, my video got taken off of YouTube for some reason or another. You can see the old door hardware where a bird decided to sit and take care of business in the most foul way. And we have these things here, which are something. I have no idea. But yeah, then we're gonna come this way. So in here, this would have been like the living area. So in through here, this would have been like a living area or like a area attached to the bedrooms. This, where I was showing originally when we first came in the front door, would have been the original living room. So when we come in here and we have like, this would have been one of the first bedrooms. In here, just have like a really old bed. You can see how the floor has been rotted away up into here. And this is another old bed mattress, or a bed frame here. This old jar. It's an old glass jar. Can't really tell what it says on it, but it's glass though. Old glass jar from something. Put it up on the hangy pegs. There's an attic up here. You see through the old ceiling. And there's a way to get up into it. So this used to be obviously some kind of storage here also. Into this area here is the second bedroom. And in here they had like a type of wall covering. But I think afterwards they decided to use it as storage. And this is a really old lounge chair. You can see it there with the fabric here on it. This old fabric material. A really old lounger, and these are some old oil stoves. This is what they used to heat the house with back in the day, was these old type of oil burning stoves. And that would have been the view out the bedroom window out into the pasture and stuff like that. But you could tell the house is full of where somebody used to take target practice for sure. And you can see the gas lines, the gas meter lines that come into the home. So I've been into the basement of this place before, and the basement in here is just a dirt. This would have been a couple of really nice old windows, like again with that old wood frame. So here, back here we're gonna go. So now we're going from the living area, now we're going into the kitchen area. I'm gonna start off the sinks and cupboards. There's broken glass all over the place. So there's all the old cupboards and all the sink and the cupboards up here, which I learned a while back that these cupboards here would have been places you would have stored grains or flour, stuff like that, or even been used as garbage bins. It depends on who owned the house, what they used them for. You can see all the old plumbing in here, but I think over the years people have come in here and robbed all the copper. An old Kraft mayonnaise jar. Old cupboards. And then if you go this way, this would have let. Caramba! That was a bird that scared the ever living daylights out of me. It was a pigeon, a huge one. Huge. Down in there is the basement. It's an old dirt floor. I've been down in the basement before exploring. Unfortunately, I didn't bring a bright enough light. So this is where that pigeon flew out of. Probably sitting on some eggs up in there. I think both of us jumped 10 feet in the air. And we go into here. This would have been like an old place. But you can see here where people have had, target practice on the old house. The my assistant has a light there. You can see. Cool. Yeah. So out there, this is the stairs that go down into the basement. We could go down there and check it out. It's actually really cool. Okay. Let me see here with the light inside there. Yeah, I think he was just sitting up in there. But yeah, and then the old basement door. It's not, you know. I'd go down in there and check it out, but maybe I will before we go. So then we go into here. This is the old bathroom. You can see the old sink here when you walk in. The old where they'd have their toothbrushes, storage, and there was probably an old mirror in here once upon a time. A really, really old style type garbage can, which is cool. There's an old bathtub in here. Like I said, I think people have come in here and they took out all the copper plumbing probably years ago. Like the old style toilet. This toilet is so old, in fact, it has a wooden lid on it. And you see the wood on that old toilet. I'm just gonna get this pipe out of the way, so noise there. And there you can see the old wooden toilet seat. That's got to be from back long time ago. And then we're looking down into here. We're looking down into the cistern, or the which would go down into the old well. Somebody put some wire inside that toilet, I don't know why. Probably to dig it out of here. Some old beams, and at least to have enough ventilation in here. Don't worry about ventilation. And then here's that old garbage can. They have Pussy Willow design on the front of it. You can see the old little foot pedal that you would have used to open a lid, but it's been completely rusted out by now. There it is. Yeah, there's lots of glass in these old places, so it's good to just be careful. Hey. So what we're gonna do here is we're going to go down into this basement. It's an old dirt floor. There's nothing down here that'll hurt you. I mean, I've been down into this basement before a couple of times to check it out. Just a dirty old basement. See, people have been down in here. I think they've taken out all the wires. But I'm gonna get a secure hold and I'll start filming again once we're down inside. Alright, so we're back down in the basement. See some real stuff like an old fuel tank, old storage where people would have like all types of stuff down in this old basement, and I'll show you so came down. Ooh. Old retaining wall. That's what these concrete pieces are, just old retaining wall. There was definitely a cave-in down here, as these walls used to be up high, and just an old cave-in of old boots, old pair of boots down here, and just old wrappers of old chip wrappers from chips and stuff like that from people that probably one time lived here. They've long moved out of here. This place has been empty for a really long time. So there's some really old crates in here. And there's some of those things that go on the top of light posts or electric posts, the glass Some really old paint cans. Canadian butter. The box here. You can see there, Canadian butter, Manitoba.
And there's a thing about candles.
There's a bunch of stuff in here. Oh wow, yeah. There's a whole collection of them over here. You can see old stuff. And the thing about coming into these places that's really cool is like, these are gold mines, man. They're full of old fashioned stuff and collectible stuff too. Like there's collector, like an old sugar can there, things like that, and some old, like whatever that is, like some kind of an old baby seat maybe or something, you know. If you know, you're more than welcome to write in the descriptions below. And tons of cobwebs. Get them all in here. Like this whole place is loaded. I definitely wouldn't come in here in the summertime since it's like super early spring. It's the only reason why I'm down here now. Old lead paint can, yeah, you know. Not even wearing a mask, but it's okay. We're not going to be down here very long. Just old stuff. So, there's stuff buried in here. It'd be like, like I said, I would dig through it, but you know, kind of the dust, like tons of old jar lids, stuff like that. Here, we're gonna head back up out of here. So when we come back up to the top, you see the old bricks, the old brick retaining wall. See, these collapsed, I'm assuming, in the past, and that's why the dirt, like here, is all over the place from the walls that collapsed.
So, as you see, there's a very old truck here. Looks like maybe an older 1960s, 50s international truck. Very old, very rusty. I see some handlebars coming out of the back. So let's see what those are. Oh, it's a little tricycle. Cool. Yeah, and the taillight's still in here. I'm sure this used to be a really nice truck up until they abandoned it. Everything's all rusted out. Oh yeah, you can see International right here. Absolutely no clue what that is, this little tub here. But here's the inside of it. It's really messed up and all destroyed. It looks really nice though, or it looks like it used to be really nice. The crank windows and everything. Yeah, back in the glory days, I guess. This is what good money got you. There's a lot of abandoned equipment out here, as you can see. There's a harvester over there. Here's the house that we were just in. Yeah, very spooky. Yeah, you can see though, everything in here is right rusted up. Those look like some heavy duty brakes there that this truck uses. I'd like to see what's under the hood if there's even anything, but don't know if I can access that. But yeah, I always like seeing abandoned vehicles. They're really cool. Or older vehicles just in general. I think they're pretty nice. It looks like there's an abandoned or dismantled propeller up here or something. I have absolutely no clue what it is or where it was. There's something here though. Yeah, everything's all destroyed and dismantled and stuff. But yeah, it's pretty cool.
So here we are, was down in the basement and found a really cool old piece of history. It's really neat. That's an old Rogers Golden Syrup BC Sugar refined in Vancouver, BC container. And over here we have some old, these are what go on the top of electricity poles. They were insulators. But these ones here specifically, these ones are made out of glass. They were made by a company called, flip it over please. Yeah, just like that. So these were made by a company called Dominion Glass out of Redcliffe, Alberta. And they are stamped to the Diamond D on the other side from Dominion Glass Company in Redcliffe. So I got a few of those too. And looking out here, this would have been the look out the window. Out to the old back 40, which we're gonna go and explore some of these old outbuildings here. My son previously here, he just did a thing on the truck that was out there. That old International is 1940s to 1950s truck for the period. We'll come back in for that. So then we're going out to the back. So this would have been like kind of going out the back 40. That basement was pretty cool. There's a lot of stuff in there. It's a bird nest up over there, and then we can see up into the attic here. So I'm just gonna put the camera up, and we're just gonna have like a quick little look up into the attic and show you guys if we can see what's up inside there. Might be more birds, who knows. If you can even see anything at all. Do a full 360-degree view up inside the attic. That would be the upper area there. I know there's holes up in there as well, up in the roof. Coming down. This would have been an old closet here that they had hanging off. The old coat closet, some old paint cans, some old steel. A lot of deer pellets in here. I noticed there are a significant amount of deer pellets in here and in that basement, which is really, really weird. So I'm not too sure exactly what to make of how they got into the basement of this old house. But going out this way, this will take us out to the back, and you see the old rounded concrete stairs here. Okay, so here's my next thing. All right, the last time I was here, this well was not bent like that. It was perfectly flat, and I am super curious, and I kind of want to know what's down inside that well. Now that I see where it has been bent like that, I'm hoping that there's not somebody laying at the bottom of it, because that would be not good. And I certainly don't want to lose my phone down there.
Take off the lid.
Yeah. So if you want to just go ahead and film, handing this to my assistant now. And then of course what I'm going to do is be smart about the process and toss on a pair of gloves. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to it's not that deep, unfortunately. I don't have a light bright enough to see down inside there, unfortunately. It's pretty deep. I'd say like 20-30 feet. I don't see anything down there, any animals down there. But this definitely would have been the old water well. Yeah, because you can see where the water pipes and pumps would have drawn it up. I don't see anything down there. I don't see anybody down there. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead. We're going to put this back over top of it. And although it's just like really flimsy steel, kind of don't want to. Leave it coned up so people can see it. And then here we are. We're gonna go out, check out these outbuildings. Check out these outbuildings back over here. Wait. And then we'll come back and we'll look at some of the sheds and some of the machinery. That's one well. There's two wells out here. There's another well out here. Some old steel. So this used to be an old parts to an old horse-drawn buggy that used to be out here that has just rotted away over the years and fell into time, really, I guess, if that's what you could say. It's been lost of time. And then out here we have other old outbuildings. We have some old shrubs and just old tree. This used to be a cattle pen. Out here, this used to be a cattle barn. You can come up and you see the old pens. For the cattle would be out here. And eventually they went from wooden fences to more modern steel fences, and this is probably where they would do pen up their bulls and separate the cows from the females when they would do the branding and things like that in the spring. So they have like their pen stock, or the chutes here, where they would send them back out into the fields after branding, maybe. It's old cattle barn. We'll walk out. Okay, hey. So there it is from a distance. You can see it is leaning pretty good all the way over. And right where you were about to walk on the right, that's another giant well right there. So, but this well here we can see in the daytime. The old leaning barn of you can just see kind of and here's the old barn, all leaned over, and all the pens have been long broken and beat up and all kinds of things. But the well that's here, it's actually quite cool. So here, if you don't mind, assistant, please. And then we'll open this well here. This one, it's protected by a old door. Down inside this well, there is a ton of trash, and I think what they did is they put all this trash in here on purpose in case the animals ever fell in here. And this well was used to obviously water the cattle and animals that used to be on this farm years and years previous to that. But yeah, like if you look down inside, which I can see pretty good, it's just a bunch of old timber, old cutting wheels, rocks, everything they could probably just pack in there. They packed in there. Definitely old timbers. This is an old ladder because it goes way down and like inside. Probably a 3,000 or 4,000 gallon well. We're not going to go inside because I mean, it's leaning really good. And they just used old cedar for the roof too back in the day. This old barn here, some old cedar coming back up along the fence here, fence line. Oh, here we've come across an old cattle bone. Looks like a part of the hip maybe, or part of the groin. I'm not too sure exactly. Or the leg. And then just some old stuff. Hear drop, had some weight to it, eh? I was just looking into another yard. That's the thing about out here, you know, you're living way out here. You're completely in the middle of nowhere. You have no neighbors for God knows how many miles, probably. But check out the sky. Looks like it's a tornado. The sky goes on forever out here, forever. I remember coming up to this old building here. This is another, which would have been, I think, this old outbuilding. For just the way the clouds are falling. Looks really cool though. Let's see if you zoom in real close. How neat that sky looks. And that way that's facing south where we're at. Back towards the city. And if we go into this old barn, this old this old outbuilding, this is what I think, and it just being in my personal opinion, used to be a laundry house. So I think they use this for laundry. Because there used to be what looks like a pretty heavy duty door, locked by chains. Of course, because when you had, or also what I think it could have been is a drying shack. They could have grew tobacco out here at one point because there's a lot of hangers and a lot of wire out here. Or it was a laundry shack where they would hang up their laundry. And I'll show you why in a minute, why I think this used to be, particularly think this used to be an old laundry shack. And we're just going out through a little hole in the side of the building. Over here. So we'll go back for perspective. We're back. Just for perspective of the old building. You can see it there. It's incredibly old. This place has got to be like 7,500 years old. This old farm out here. And I think somebody told me once upon a time that the family lived here, had left it in like the late 1980s or 1990s. I think it was abandoned. And then heading out here, so we're going towards the back of the property. Come out here, and we have a really, really old washing machine. And it being that close to the old building out there, this old washing machine. So I'm assuming that was probably like the laundry area at some point. See the old washer, the pedal on it. Push the pedal down to drain. It wasn't all ran by a pedal. It was ran by a motor, an electric motor. And then on top here, up here would have been a press with 2 press wheels, and then you would have fed the laundry through there to wring out the laundry once you take it out of the basin. And you have your stuff there. And then these fields all over here, all surrounding this farm, these fields are all still plowed and seeded every year. Matter of fact, I think they've already seeded because you can almost see stuff starting to grow. So they may have done their seeding already for the season. And what we'll do is we'll come around the back way. It is quite an interesting walk actually, coming out here and looking at this cool old farm. It's neat. I mean, to live like this would be absolutely great. This would be the place for me. I grew up on an acreage, well, not really an acreage because there really wasn't acres of land, but I grew up outside of the city. Sure, it was boring, but boy, it had its perks. Neighbors were always so friendly, always willing to lend a helping hand. People were really great. Yeah, coming out here, there's lots of like old wood. old stuff like that. Definitely some newer fencing. You can see the fencing here is all particularly in this area. And here you have all the old fencing from stuff that had been torn down and replaced. And walking in through here, you can see the old chute doors where they would, these are the doors they would use probably for branding. They would lock the cow's head inside this portion of the door here that looks like it's bowed out, sort of. They'd lock the cow's head in here by the neck, and they have the different sizes and things here. You see how that would work, opened up. And then they would usually brand them like that, or castrate them, neuter them, things like that. They had another door here, which then they would go through this chute here. So they would have it on a wire, and the door would lift up, and they would come into this pen from another pen, so they could separate them from the mama cows. And the bulls would always be kept in a separate pen as well. You can see this old wood going way up to where the old handles for the chute used to be. Another old mystery barrel. Your eyes open too. Keep your eyes open on a lot of these old places too, because you never know when you're gonna run into a well. But you can see how flat. You see how flat the grass is out here. In some spots, because there's quite a bit of deer and stuff like that come out here. And so now we're on the back side of the barn. As you can see, this is the old back side of it. And then you can see the old sliding door. The old sliding door there. The slider open and closed. Have the animals coming in and out. And it's almost curiosity to know if it still works. Like, I'm so curious to know if it'll open or what. Let's check it out. Check it out and see if that old door will still open. Who else is curious to know? I mean, I'd hate to open it up and the whole thing falls over. That wouldn't be good. Well, that door has been closed for generations. It's not opening. And here we are over here. All right, back up. All right, when we come back, we're gonna go to another one of the outbuildings. And we'll go have a look at some of the old farm machinery that's out here when we come back. Okay, so came across something really cool that I had to show you guys. I seen this and I was like, I gotta check it out. So this here is an old automatic watering trough. This old automatic watering trough. And this old trough was made in Manitoba. You can see the name there on the side. From Boniface, Manitoba. Now when you open up this old watering thing here, there used to be like an electric switch you could see there, so they could turn the water on and off. And inside here is an old well. So open up this old thing. And there it is there. And the well goes down 30-40 feet. I know it's hard to tell because I don't have a really bright light and I'm not willing to stick my phone over top the edge, but you can see the old tap there. You see an old 50 amp fuse. And the chain. Still all hooked up together and all this old stuff. It's pretty cool. Alright, now what we're going to do is we're going to make our way out of here and go have a look at some of the old outbuildings, and when we do that, we'll bring you back. But I figured I'd show you guys this because it was a pretty interesting little tidbit to have, I thought, and to show you. So here we are back outside the old house, the old homestead, I like to call it. Used to run off propane, I'm assuming. Some type of propane gas fixture they had out here. So I don't know if it was just heating or if that was for... Some people used to use propane to run fridges and things like that. And just that old, see some of the bricks from the old chimney up there? And the old plank roofing. And they would use that roll, that one roll that we had seen in the kitchen for the stuff on the walls here. It's like it's like shingles, kind of. There goes Mr. Mike having a walk back to the vehicle. And you get into here, and this was old tool shed where they had all their old tools out here, and there's still even now old stuff out here, old chains for some of the old farm machinery. Just a cornucopia of old tools and handles and plow pieces and bucket pieces and well pieces and fabric, pipes, tons of plants, pots, things like that in here. An old tiller. See there in the picture, it's really old. Some old truck tires, old spare tires out here. A lot of old plant pots. This is one thing I'd like to take, but I'm not gonna. It's an old display cabinet. This is an antique display cabinet, probably from like 1950s, 1940s for sure. Out here, there's old belts down over there. Used to go on some of the machinery. Just a ton, like a trove of interesting old tools and all types of stuff. Old aluminum weaver. So this is solid aluminum, this piece here. It's a vessel, some kind of watering thing, I'm not sure. Never grew up on a farm, so I couldn't tell you what to call all of this stuff. Pretty neat though. And there's tons of it. Another old display cabinet. There's the parts off the old tiller and the motor. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna make our way out of here. And we're gonna go have a look at some of the old machinery. It's coming back. We'll go have a look at some of the old machinery as soon as we come back. Coming out here, this is, I guess, the farm machine graveyard. This is where all the machines came to die or to be put to rest at the end of their long careers as farm implementation. Over here we got an old .650. See it there on the side. And what I think it says is International. We'll start this way and come across. Which, and my son did a view on the old truck out there. We have out here a lot of great stuff. Spark plugs. Pieces of old machinery. Huge pile of steel scrap. All the scrap steel out here would bring in thousands and thousands of dollars, but I'm not into this old wheel here would be really cool. I think it's a wheel off of an old tractor, because you can see the studs, like the old steel grippers, I guess you'd call them, for gripping the soil and the land. And it would make a really neat ornament piece. You can see there all the old steel spokes and that kind of thing. If I could get it to stand up straight, I'd show it to you guys, but Going back to the gym definitely has its perks. There. Let me see the old wheel there. It's pretty cool. This is an antique. This is so old that they used wood on this one here. You see the old wooden spokes used to be on that baby. That's old. Early 20th century farm machine over here. And over here we have an old hand pump. So this whole thing here, this is an old hand pump, but the top of it has been long removed, probably because it was damaged. I don't believe there were ever tornadoes out here, so I don't think tornadoes were the reason why any of this stuff was ever destroyed. Or I think what happened is the farm owners just got up there in age. We decided to retire and move into the city. Old farm machinery. And yeah, see some of the old spikes sticking up out of the ground, which is the reason why I said before, walking out here, those old, there, they would cut you open something awful, let me tell you. It would be tetanus shots at the hospital. And here we have an old part of a combine. Probably has a year on it. These are really old. Really old machinery out here. And back to some of the wooden stuff. You can just tell by how a lot of this stuff is. And here we have an old Super 27. You guys can see the name on it. I'm not going to sponsor any kind of company on here. If you walk up here is the old seat, the old steering wheel, big old tires on there, all the machinery in there to run it, operate it, that kind of thing. Alright, that was a female pheasant that just popped up out of here. I don't know where she was sitting. She was sitting right in here though. Yeah, I jumped. I mean, who wouldn't? She come right out. Somebody put a couple rocks in there. But this was like that other one we went and looked at. You see that old barn red they call it or whatever. And then some old stainless steel pieces down in there, or aluminum. Made by the same company. And well, would you look at there? Look at that. John Deere, Welland, Ontario, Canada. The town I grew up in. They had a John Deere plant there for years and years and years. That's how old this old John Deere tractor is out here. Old moving pieces here. Unhandled. Type stuff. That's incredible. I would never have thought in a million years I would have seen something that said John Deere. It's an old disc tiller. I guess it's what you call a 700B. So in here, like, I know a lot of this stuff is collectible. There are people out here that they specifically come out and they look for this stuff because it's all collectible, and some people will refurbish this all and they'll put it on their property. Let's have an overlook from back here of the property, the old homestead farm. And then just some junk that's sitting around. That's going to conclude this part of the tour for the property for now. When I bring you back, I'm going to show you the storm cellar. There's a storm cellar across the way, and an old blown down silo. We're going to go have a look in there. But yeah, this is where all the machines come to retire. A beautiful spring day in Alberta, Canada. All right, and here we are. We are at a blown over silo. Like, there's no fences around here, so we're gonna go check it out. It's like old piles of debris. There's a storm cellar here I want to check out as well. So I must hope my assistant still has the light. And yeah, we got a huge storm rolling in behind us there. Coming down. We're gonna check out all this debris. I'm assuming there was a building here at one point, and just with the winds and stuff, it had fallen over. I don't think there's too many wells around here that we really have to be worried about walking around here anyway. There might be, but I doubt it. In through there, maybe. That's a big old silo. However, I was going to say in the one video, when I did come back to film this, which I knew I was gonna, the tops of these things, how ominously they look like a UFO, and how that if one of those ever flew off the top and spun around, and somebody was like, hey look, there's a UFO flying around. Meanwhile, it's just the top of one of these things buzzing around through a tornado or something like that, or through some really high winds, because I'm assuming that's how this fell over to begin with. I can see that being the case though. Let's see how it was knocked down. Oh. There's an old bone. They're still in there. Last time I was out here, I am going to show you guys this. I know it's crazy to think, but there's some old bones out here from some cattle that I'm assuming the farmers had probably just tossed in there for whatever reason. But yeah, there they are. That's them. Those are definitely cows.
Oh, you can see the brick wall to the left.
Yeah. It's still some of the... But anyways, that's cool. When I bring you back here in a minute, we're gonna go have a look at an old storm cellar, which they used to use in case there ever was a tornado. It's just located right over there. That's an old jawbone from one of the cows there. You see how big that is? All right, and here we are here. This here is an old storm cellar from way back in the day when this used to be, people were afraid of, and if you look down inside there, which we're gonna brave it. You know what? We're gonna go down inside there today. I wanna go get some video. So There's stairs that go down there in the summertime. I've never been down there because I was always out here by myself, but today I have my son out here with me, so I'm gonna go down there and check it out. When I get down there, which is gonna be a little bit of scaling here, I will start filming the video again. So when I'm back, I'll be down there. So here we are. So there's stairs that go down here, and you can see where they've used diesel to make this all sealed, and it's all dirt down through here, and then it goes down into this old storm cellar down in here. So I don't know whatever this was down here. You can see the old door. There's no animal footprints down here, so I don't think I have to be too worried about that. It's hard to say what this stored. I mean, I guess in order to know, you can see the old timbers down here. Back in the day, they probably just grew stuff in here, I would assume. Or what this was a bunkhouse maybe, or a place they would dry tobacco or grow all types of stuff. I know what it does is they soaked all these timbers in diesel or some type of oil to keep them from rotting over the years, because they're still in like incredible condition, holding up the ground above me, of course, which is pretty cool. You can see all the stuff up here and that kind of thing. This is the storm cellar, or what I think it was a storm cellar. You get the old door here. Cool. Old door hardware. This is probably from like, then we get the backwards door. The old door hardware.
When you're coming back up, watch out, because there's a loose nail here.
Okay. There's a tiny little spider there. Tiny little one, which I'm sure there are some sizable ones in here in the summertime, which is another. You can see the cobwebs. They don't really bother me. Spiders and things like that. So I just know to be careful, right? Yeah, and then this is the stairway leading back up and out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and start making my way out of here. So this is the end of the tour of the storm cellar that I've been wanting to check out for quite some time now. It's been a super interesting, very, very interesting day out here at the old farmstead, the old homestead there, and been checking it out. But I think this is where we're going to end the video for now. Thanks a lot, guys, for tuning in. I'm just glad that the weather's been kind of nice. We've been able to get out and get another video out for you guys to watch. We'll see you again soon, where we're going to be doing another YouTube video here. I think this year I am going to kind of withdraw from the bushcrafting. I love bushcrafting, and I will still do it in my spare time, of course, with my son and things like that. But bushcrafting has been done to death, you know. Whereas stuff like this, these old farmhouses too, a lot of these old tours have also been done and done a lot of. But this storm cellar, nobody's been down here, and now I just found a really cool place to stealth camp. So maybe this summer we'll get a stealth camp in down here, but we'll see. Until then, we'll see you guys later. We're gonna... Oh no, there's a wild foot hanging around here. Ooh. And we'll see you guys on the next video. Ciao for now. And have a good one, guys.